Okay, think about the situation in Malaysia Airlines, and it harkens back to Air France losing a plane in the Atlantic two years to find that. What's wrong with the current technology that allows people to track planes, and what can be done better? Well, Matt Bradley joins us, president of Flight Aerospace Solutions. He's in our Calgary studio. Matt, let's talk about what Flight does first before we explore the current technology of black boxes. What is it that you make?
Hi, Pat. Flight makes a box that goes on the aircraft called the Automated Flight Information Reporting System, known as AFIRS for short. And customers put that on their aircraft to help them with efficiencies by monitoring the engine and the aircraft. But it also has a secondary function that is known as Flight Stream. And in the event that you have an abnormal situation, the pilot has an option of pressing a button in the cockpit, an event button, that will alert the airline operational control center of an anomaly on the aircraft. It can be either pressed by the pilot or it can be triggered automatically if the aircraft has a significant unusual event like a pitch, a roll, an engine failure, fire, decompression event. So the AFIRS system acts as a sentinel on the aircraft looking for these abnormal events. In the event that something happens, it alerts the airline in no uncertain terms that there's a situation on that aircraft, that you need eyes on it, and after that happens, it starts to stream the black box data off the aircraft.
Okay, so did you design it originally as a maintenance tool, if you will, an efficiency tool, or as a sentry that you're describing?
We designed it as a health monitoring system and as a communication tool. So the system was designed to give pilots a communication tool, a voice tool. Anywhere on the Earth, we use the Iridium satellite network that doesn't have any gaps in coverage anywhere in the world. So the pilots can call home, can call anyone they want from the cockpit. And also the health monitoring of the aircraft in terms of monitoring the fuel consumption, the way fuel is burned, the way the engines are operated, et cetera. So that's the primary reason we built the AFIRS unit.
Okay, but if you're doing it for the purposes of a sentry, for instance, then there's got to be concerns about the communication component, the security of what's transmitted. How do you address that?
Well, the data can be handled in any number of ways. In terms of the security of the data coming off the aircraft, the connection through Iridium is encrypted. It's the security coming off the aircraft is very secure. The ground links, in order to determine where that data goes, are also very secure. And there are any number of rules that you could apply to the data after it comes off the aircraft to either open that data up for more public consumption or to restrict it and to be able to have that data only accessible by a few. And it also can be quarantined and saved for a view by accident investigation authorities after the fact.
Okay, so you could transmit it securely to air traffic controllers, you could send it to military, anything along those lines. Can you, and what we're finding, or there's speculation at least, that the black boxes on the Malaysian Airlines were disabled somehow. How would your system differ from a black box in that respect? Could you pull the plug on it?
Yeah, the way the current system is right now, the system can be disabled. I'm not going to discuss how on the air, but it can be disabled. The challenge with understanding what happened with the Malaysian flight is we don't really know in what way it was disabled. I mean, the common theories are that it was tampered with. We aren't 100% sure that that's the case. It could have been an electrical fire, an electrical problem that was systematic, and the systems were shut down by the pilots deliberately to deal with some sort of onboard emergency. The AFIRS unit, the first iteration of this Flight Stream product can be disabled, but there are many ways to power the system and to protect it and to make it tamper-proof, and those are on our roadmap.
Okay, so after this incident, have you had a lot more people phoning you up and saying, Matt, what can you do for me?
Yes, we've had a growing interest in the system ever since the Air France 447 incident back in 2009. And I think incidents like this really highlight the fact that there are systems out there that can really take advantage of the increased bandwidth on the aircraft, the reduction in transmission rates, and a real innovative and more creative approach to getting data off aircraft for a number of reasons, for health monitoring as well as for systems like this. So we've been run off our feet with inquiries about the system since the latest incident.
How expensive are you? I mean, is cost a factor, or do you give away the instruments relatively inexpensively and then recoup revenue in other revenue streams?
Mm-hmm. We get that a lot. We get that question a lot, Pat, because it's some of the people who are giving pushback to a system like ours say that it's too expensive, and to have streamed data off an aircraft. And this is the way I look at that. Is nobody puts the AFIRS box on an aircraft unless it's going to make them money from the outset. That's why they put it on. They get it from the fuel efficiency, and the payback time is usually about 6 months. It can be longer depending on how you're using the system. To add flight stream functionality onto that for cases like this is basically a no-cost add. And triggered streaming is very different from streaming aircraft off the black box in real time all the time, which would be ludicrous, and nobody would do that. You'd want it to be triggered. And to give you an idea of the cost, it's about $10 a minute to stream the data off the black box in its current iteration anywhere in the world. And I would ask anyone that considers that to be too high a cost, would you like 30 minutes of data off the Malaysian 370 aircraft? I mean, it becomes a crazy question.
Does it ever? Moot point. Matt, great discussion. Thank you.
Thanks, Pat.